Welcome to the WiseTake DFS podcast, sponsored by the very best in the DFS industry, Daily Roto Sharks. If you want to be prepared for your DFS slates every night, you need to check out the hashtag cheat sheets from dailyrotosharks.com. I am your host, CK013. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013. And I am joined tonight by Matt Amon. You can find him on Twitter at MattAmon123. Matt Amon is a contributor for Daily Roto Sharks in the MLB articles. Matt, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I've been better. For those of you that don't know, if you noticed, I didn't have my background and all that. I was in South Carolina visiting family, and I had a great time. It's always. I don't care how old you are. It's always good to see your parents when you don't get to see them every day. And your brother, I got a brother and a sister. I got to see them as well. Even the family dogs. It was nice to see everybody. So that was awesome. What was not awesome, as Matt knows, Matt was up waiting for me. It's currently, just get an idea, it's 3:14 on the East Coast right now, and Matt. Luckily for me, Matt's schedule complied. He was able to step in. We were actually supposed to have Ben and CG on the pod today, but unfortunately, my flight got delayed about 50 times, and I didn't land. I was supposed to land at about, I want to say 9 o'clock Eastern time. I didn't land till about 1:30 just because of the weather down there. And it's funny because my father actually said to me, he says, 99% of the time down here in Charleston, we have beautiful, beautiful weather, and just one time where you really, really had to, needed everything to go your way, it just didn't. So I've been better, but I'm feeling a lot better talking to you now, Matt.
Well, maybe you'll get the luck back tomorrow where it really matters.
Yeah, maybe karma will balance itself out, right? I'm a good
That's
guy.
right.
I'm a good guy, right?
Yeah, we can always hope.
Exactly. So one positive for me, I personally didn't do so well on today's slate. I'll admit that I stacked a lot of Rockies. I played a lot of different Mets, and the only thing I really had going for me going into this slate was the Dong Watch game. At least Jay Bruce went off, so that gives me two in a row. I still only am really tied with you as far as calls because you were lucky. Not lucky. You were skilled enough, I should say. DFS game of skill.
Yeah.
You were skilled enough to hit 2 out of 3 on your first pod. So. That was awesome. Matt, how'd you do today in DFS? Did you play?
I played a lot of teams. I think I made $11, so big whoop-de-doo.
Hey, man,
But
I'd be happy
yeah,
if I
the
won
Rockies
$11.
also let me down.
Oh,
Yeah.
what was the last part?
Yep. Hey, but I said the Rockies let me down too, but I'm okay if Willie Peralta's beating me, then I'm okay.
Hey, man, I'm gonna stack against him every time, and if I lose, I was meant to lose, right?
That's right. That's 100% right. But that's baseball.
I will give you I will give you your due though. I know that one of the stacks you wrote in your article, I think you had the Giants again, didn't you?
I did.
They went off. I mean, they didn't win the game, and Arizona actually also did well, but they went off. I listened to you. I like what you said. I did so. I dug deeper into the research with the Giants, and I noticed we did talk about it on the pod. I believe we talked about how Taiwan Walker. I'm sorry, I can never say his name. We talked about how Walker is a predominantly a four-seam fastball pitcher. I dug into the research after you pointed out some of the Giants there, and I noticed that Brandon Belt crushes fastballs in particular. So. That went well. So, and I also had we even talked about Hunter Pence a little bit too on the
Yeah,
podcast today.
you did. You called Hunter Pence, and that was good. And you know what? The Giants scored 6 runs, but they got the absolute least out of that game.
Yes.
They stranded the bases loaded. They had tons of other opportunities, and it just didn't happen.
And that's baseball.
Yep.
You ready to dig into tonight's slate? Today's slate. We got a large slate.
Yes, we do. Yep. Let's do it.
Let's do this. All right, starting off, it looks like we got Clay Buchholz of the Philadelphia Phillies. That just sounds weird. Right? Doesn't that just sound weird?
Boy, this is just a thrilling pitching matchup.
Oh, God. Going up against the Reds, Rookie Davis. Okay.
Yep. And hey, he is a rookie. Yeah. This is it. His first start.
God, it's a very fitting name. Looks like the temperature is going to be about 46 degrees. 21% chance of a drizzle. Humidity is about 71%. What are we doing here in this game in general?
Well, I can't play either of the pitchers because they're both Buchholz we know is bad. I don't know if Rookie is bad. We're going to find out, but I'm not going to play him in his first start at Great American Ballpark. And it says the wind's supposed to blow 22 miles out to center.
Oh, wow. I missed that. Right. Wow.
Yeah. If that's the case, you got to check, a few hours before the game to see if that's actually what it's going to be. But if that is, it's like, I want to be interested in the hitters, but it's so cold, but the pitchers are bad. So I think certainly I will have some bats in this game if the game looks like it's going to play.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely with you. I'm staying far away from these pitchers, especially in this kind of ballpark. We know Clay, he can give up the home run quite a bit, so I'm with you on
Yeah.
that. As far as stacks, now,
As far as the batters go, I would just be looking at all the power guys here.
mm,
I was listening to the Morning Grind podcast on Roto Grinders right before I came on here, and Derek Carty was on. I don't know if you're familiar with
yes,
him.
yeah, he does great work.
Um, yeah, he's very sharp. Anyways, he was talking that Clay Buchholz is really good at holding on runners.
Mm,
So maybe less interest in like a Billy Hamilton or a Peraza
mm.
type. So if that's the case, then maybe more of like Votto and Adam Duvall.
Yeah, I
Um,
love Duvall in this spot. Don't get me wrong, I like Votto, but I think Votto is we know Votto is probably the cash game. He's the safer play. Not to say you can't play him in a GPP. He's got tremendous upside, so I don't want to take anything away from him. But if you're looking
mhm.
for a lower owned option, Duvall is definitely up your alley. Even a guy like Suarez, he does strike out a lot, but in tournaments, we know he could put some pop in his bat. And someone I really think is interesting is Zach Cozart. I don't understand why he's got bumped so far down this order. He was like a key hitter for them last year, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. I mean, Scott Schebler too has some
Yes,
power.
good point. Good, very, very, very good point.
Yep.
And he's super cheap, right? Well, he's cheap enough.
Yep. Yep.
What about on the
And
other side?
this, I would say this slate is really weird. Like, there's literally no pitchers that you want to pay up for, so you're going to be able to have like whatever bats you want to have.
That makes it very,
Uh,
very interesting.
yeah, and so we'll see as we go on. I mean, all the pitchers are terrible, so but we're gonna have to figure out some of them. But anyways, on the Phillies side, um, Tommy Joseph, Michael Saunders, Cameron Rupp are the three I'd be most interested in, and Odubel Herrera's fine too.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm with you on pretty much all those guys. Want to move on?
Yeah. Yep. Let's do it.
All right, next we got Jason Hamill. Looks like he found himself I didn't even realize he wasn't on the Cubs anymore. Jason Hamill
Yep.
on the Royals now, going up against Kyle Gibson of the Twins. About 50 degrees as of now. Obviously, you're going to want to pay attention closer to lock. We're talking about this the night before. 50 degrees, no chance of rain as far as now. 38% humidity. Even here, though, we got 13-mile-an-hour winds. Looks like it's blowing out to right a little bit. What are we doing with the pitchers here?
Well, I think Jason Hamill is in play. He's a decent strikeout guy. The Twins strike out a decent bit. I like his chances, and like I said, with the pitching being so weak, I think he is in play.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Gibson, I don't think I can play him. He doesn't really strike people out. The Royals don't really strike out. He's an extreme ground ball pitcher, so I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if he did okay in this game. I think that there's other pitchers that can score more points.
I'm with you. I agree. I think we know that Hamill, he has his good days and his bad days, but we know what he's capable of. We know the Twins can stink it up just as good as anybody else, and we know that, like you said, what's the upside with Kyle Gibson, right? Like what's our
Right.
ceiling there, especially in tournaments? What's our ceiling? You know?
17, 18 points.
Right. So it's like you're not going crazy over it, right?
Right. Yeah.
Talk to me about the
No. No
hitters.
power. The hitters, as far as the Twins goes, I'm just looking at the normal suspects, the big power guys, Dozier and Sano, and then my favorite for today would be Max Kepler.
Oh yes.
He's got big lefty power, so Max Kepler, and then I'm not really interested in many of the other guys. For Kansas City, we talked yesterday how they're predominantly left-handed. But then you have Kyle Gibson, who's an extreme ground ball pitcher, so you don't really like, that kind of thing going on. But if you're going to do it, Hosmer, Gordon, and Brandon Moss would be my favorite. He's still cheap.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. No, that's a good question. Just in your opinion, Matt. This is a kind of game where like I can sort of see like I don't know how comfortable I would feel stacking these games. I can certainly see merit in one-offs. I do like Kepler, I do like Moss, but what do you think? More of like a one-off situation? You wouldn't recommend like a full
I mean,
stack?
look, this slate, as we get into it, there's two spots in particular that I'm really bullish on and that I'm going to want to stack every which way, and we'll get to them. These first two games are definitely not those games. So yeah, I'll be picking one here and one there from these two games.
I do like your call on Kepler. I do like that a lot.
Yeah.
All right, want to move on?
Yep.
All right, now we got a little bit of rain we're expecting here. We got Chad Cole of the Pittsburgh Pirates visiting Eduardo Rodriguez, the lefty of the Boston Red Sox. It looks like about 42 degrees is estimated. Of course, you definitely want to check. As of right now, they're predicting about an 86% chance of precipitation, humidity about 96%, and even here we got some winds, 12-mile-an-hour winds blowing in from about center field. What are we doing with the pitchers here?
I mean, I would be shocked if this game played. I mean,
Mm.
I would say there's less than a 10% chance this game plays. I mean, it's 42, a 80% chance of rain at first pitch, and the chance just goes up all day. It's like 100%. So, I mean, if it's okay with you, I would just pass on this game, like, completely.
I'm with you 100%. I mean, to be honest, even if the
Yeah.
game plays, I'm really not dying to play these guys. I mean, yeah, I guess you could find, but you know
Yeah.
what it is? It's still kind of cold in Boston.
Yeah, I mean, when I first looked at the slate, I had a decent amount of interest in Erod
Mm,
at the pitching, um, but yeah,
yeah,
it's just can't do it.
let's skip over it. Next we got Antonio. Oh, okay, I can't even say this guy's name.
Yep.
Senzatella?
Senzatella.
Senzatella. Antonio
Yeah.
Senzatella of the Colorado Rockies going up against Chase Anderson. The Colorado Rockies just broke our hearts. I know me and you were both on them. And you know what? I would have done it again. In that spot against Peralta with that offense, I would have done it again in that ballpark, right?
Yep, absolutely. And guess what? We're going back to it.
All right. Sell me on the
We're
Rockies
going,
here.
we're going right back to it. Chase Anderson stinks. I could just pull up my article that I was just writing when we started this. He gave up 36% hard contact to both sides of the plate last year. He's actually a reverse splits pitcher. He gave up almost a 40% hard contact to righties last year.
Wow. To
Um,
righties?
he doesn't strike people out. He's just not very
You
good.
said to righties? 40%?
Yeah,
Oh, my God.
40% to righties. So, Arenado, Story, LeMahieu,
Yes.
and that's not to mention, it's not like he was great against lefties, and Miller Park is the best park in the league for lefty power. So, Blackman and Cargo are in great spots also.
Yeah, no, I like what you pointed out there, especially about you see that's something that's interesting that I think a lot of people miss in baseball. And one of the advantages to baseball is the advanced sabermetrics, the advanced statistics, and something you just pointed out. Yeah, anybody could look at this and say, oh yeah, Charlie Blackmon, Carlos Gonzalez, even Parra, yeah. But you dug a little deeper and you found out that he's actually got a little bit of a reverse splits things going on here. So maybe we want to target more of the righties in this situation. That's very, very. I think it's
Yeah.
a great point. And
And you know what? BVP plays that out. I mean, Nolan Arenado's faced him I forget what it is exactly, but 16 times, and he was 8 for 16 with 4 home runs.
ooh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was on Arnaudo pretty heavy today, and he let me down. But you know what? I'm all about the short-term memory, so I think I'm gonna have to. I might have, at least in the early slate, I'm gonna have to go back to this game. Oh yeah, definitely. I'm liking it.
Yep.
What about on the Milwaukee side?
Yeah, on the Milwaukee side, Senzatella is making his first career start. He's kind of a highly touted prospect, like their number one prospect in their farm system. But I looked into him in the minors last year, and he's not really a strikeout pitcher. He was 18% strikeout rate in the minors last year, which isn't a big deal. And we know the Brewers strike out a lot, but if he's not going to be striking them out, then I like them because they have a lot of power up and down their lineup. And they have a couple guys that most people probably have never heard of before, newer guys. This Eric Thames, I just wrote up in my article. He's been hitting up in the lineup 4 spot. I actually think he hit a home run today.
Yeah.
Anyways, he played in the Korean Baseball League the last 3 years and hit 124 home runs in 3 seasons.
What?
And he was the MVP over there in 2015.
Wow.
Yeah, so anyways, he has big power. He's a lefty. Travis Shaw, they just got from the Red Sox. He's a lefty. He's got power. And then you can match him with all the regular guys like Ryan Braun and VR and Broxton.
Yeah, okay, I'm with you. And this is exactly why if you're not checking out Matt's articles over at Daily Roto Sharks, as I hear a bunch of other people say in the industry, you're doing it wrong. Matt's doing the research so that you guys don't necessarily have to. For those of you that maybe don't have the time, or for those of you that do have the time, Matt is putting it right in front of your face so that you don't forget it. So if you're not looking at Matt's articles, you're playing MLB DFS wrong. Okay, we'll move on to the next game, Matt.
Yep,
All
let's
right.
do it.
We got the Chicago Cubs with John Lackey going up against Lance Lynn. This is the pitching matchup we were expecting to see the other day, but matter of fact, I think yesterday, and the game got postponed, obviously. We're looking at 56 degrees. As of right now, a 0% chance of precipitation. Humidity about 53%. Strong winds yet again, blowing out to right field at 19 miles an hour. I know we talked briefly about these pitchers, but it's a different day. It's a different situation. Tell me what you're doing here with the pitchers today.
Yeah, I mean, originally I would have thought, like yesterday, like I'm not going to play Lackey, but because there's such a lack of, no pun intended, such a lack of pitching on this slate, maybe you could use him. Later on, we're going to talk about Gio Gonzalez, and I like Gio a little bit better for cheaper. But, if you want to use John Lackey, it's fine. I probably won't, but it's fine. Lance Lynn, I can't use him against the Cubs. I just can't do it. I think we talked about yesterday. He's coming off Tommy John, so I want to see it first.
Yeah, I'm with you. You know what? To be honest, and like I'm not somebody who like I don't play DFS based off my grudges, but I've never liked Lance Lynn. There's something about him. Like I'll play him if he's in a good spot. Don't get me wrong, but there's something about the guy that I just don't like, and that's pretty irrelevant. But I just wanted to throw that out there.
Well, I told you how much I disliked the A's the other day, so
that's true.
It's fine.
So let me ask you a question. Yeah. So we're looking, as of right now, things could change, but we're looking at about 19 miles an hour winds, blowing out to right field, and I'm looking at a projected Cubs lineup with a lot of powerful lefty bats. What are we doing with the bats here?
Well, you can certainly play, Rizzo and Schwarber. Do they have any other powerful lefties?
We got Zobrist, even Hayward. Like he's a strikeout guy, but he can get a hold of one once in a while.
Yeah, I mean they're fine. I definitely like the other spots more. I like Colorado and Milwaukee better. I like the Dodgers a lot better. I like the Nationals a lot better that are coming up. And the Cubs seem a little bit overpriced to me, but. If you have first base open and you have 5,100 left on DraftKings, I mean, I'll definitely be clicking Anthony Rizzo.
I gotcha. No, that makes perfect sense here. What about the Cardinals bats?
Matt Carpenter's fine. Dexter Fowler's fine. They both feel overpriced to me. It's just kind of one of those games where I just don't like either. I just don't like anything.
Yeah, I don't like the game in general.
I don't like. Yeah, it's like. It's hard to say pass, but I would almost say pass.
Yeah, because like the pitchers, you're wondering about the upside. Yeah, Lackey can strike people out, but he's getting a little older, and the Cardinals don't strike out all that much, especially not against righties. On the other side, like you mentioned about Lance Lynn, he's going up against. He's coming off the Tommy John surgery. We don't know how long of a leash he's going to have. Plus, we're looking at a powerful Cubs lineup. But with the weather, even with the winds blowing out, you're still looking at about 56 degrees. And without the heat, this is more of a pitcher's ballpark. It becomes a hitter's ballpark in the middle of the summer when it's like 100 degrees every day. But without that, I think I'm with you. Even the total isn't even all that attractive, right? Like I'm really not into this game.
Yep, let's move on.
Let's do it, my man. Matt Boyd of the Detroit Tigers, the lefty, going up against big game Jane Shields. Another game that was postponed. Another matchup, I should say, that was postponed. Looks like it's supposed to be breezy and overcast. Temperature about 45 degrees. It is Chicago. No real threat of rain and about a 71 chance of humidity. Once again, 23 mile an hour winds blowing out the center. What are we doing here with the pitchers?
Well, they switched on us. The Tigers switched. They had Zimmerman in yesterday. Now they go to Boyd.
Yeah, that's right. Good point. I didn't even notice that. They snuck one on me.
Yeah, Boyd has a lot of talent. He was a highly touted prospect that they got from Toronto. I'm trying to think of who they gave away to get him, but I can't remember. But anyways, Boyd is talented. The only thing that worries me in this spot is he struggles with righties, and the White Sox have a lot of decent righty power. Abreu and Frazier and Melky and Tim Anderson and Avi Garcia. I mean, a lot of righty power. But all that being said, the way this slate sets up, I mean, I could certainly see using Boyd. He's talented. He's capable of having a good game. On a bigger slate with better options, I would definitely not use him. But in this slate, I think I could. Um, on the other side, I think everybody knows if they listened yesterday how I feel about James Shields. He's terrible. He's terrible, terrible, terrible. All the big Tigers have great BVP against him. Miguel Cabrera, Kinsler, Castellanos, Victor Martinez, etc.
Oh, I mean, I really have nothing to add. We know that Matt Boyd does have strikeout upside. We know that the White Sox do strike out. There is some concerns. There's a lot of righties in this lineup with power, like you mentioned. It's a hitter's ballpark in general, small dimensions. So I'm definitely with you. I don't think I could pull the trigger. Like on FanDuel, it would make no sense. I think you could still find better plays, but on DraftKings, where you have to roster 2 pitchers, you might not have a choice if you're playing that early. So you might have to take a chance on one of these guys. And I think I would prefer to roster Matt Boyd against the White Sox than James Shields against the Tigers. That's for sure. What are we doing with the bats?
Yeah. Well, like I said, I like the righties on the White Sox, and I like all the main Tigers. I mean, once you get down kind of to the end of their lineup, I mean, like Alex Avila's a bum. I don't play him. I don't know who else they're going to roll out there. Tyler Collins. I don't think I've played a slate yet with the Tigers on it because they keep getting rained out and then playing in the morning and stuff like that.
You're right. They've had some really bad weather.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to point out, James Shields is actually I don't want to necessarily say he's a reverse splits guy. I mean, slightly, but I would call him more of a neutral splits guy. So don't look at this and see a bunch of right-handed Tigers and think, oh, okay, James Shields is going up against a bunch of righties. He gives up just as many, if not more, hits and home runs to righties as he does to lefties.
Yeah, he just stinks.
He's just stinks.
Yeah.
Moving on.
I mean, I can't believe he starts for the White Sox. Like, how many games before that they just stop playing him? Like, I mean, I would take action that he does not make it through the season.
Oh yeah. I would have to agree with that. I mean, unless they're at a point where they're trying to throw in the towel. They're just like, you know what, we don't want to waste our young arms. Let's just throw this guy out there, see what he's got. But I mean, I don't get it. I don't see what the big hype is. He had a couple good seasons, and I think they were good seasons. Don't get me wrong, but what has he done lately, right? Like, what has he really done?
Nothing.
All right, ready to move on?
Yep, let's do it.
All right, Jared Weaver. I didn't even realize he's on the Padres now. They did quite the job building their rotation this year. Jared Weaver of the Padres going up against Brandon McCarthy of the Dodgers. Obviously, Dodgers are big favorites here. Temperature about 75 degrees, no real threat of rain, humidity about 42%, and finally some normal wind, 6-mile-an-hour wind. What are we doing here?
I just want to read you the first line from my article for today. Sneak peek. I said, I'm recommending the Dodgers for a stack. I said, I know, Matt is touting the Dodgers again. What a homer. But I said, but hey, they have a matchup with Jared Weaver. What am I supposed to do? You know what I mean? It's like, who's the worst pitcher on this slate? Weaver or James Shields? I mean, it's just like the guys that used to be good in 2004. Sort of slate. But, I mean, this guy has an 84-mile-an-hour fastball. And we know the Dodgers crush righties. And it's a day game in Los Angeles. It's going to be perfect weather. And when you have all these other games with such huge weather concerns and big wind, this game's going to be 77 degrees, and it's going to be perfect, and it's, no humidity. All the Dodgers, all the Dodgers.
I cannot argue with you there. What about what are we doing with Brandon McCarthy?
McCarthy, McCarthy's a little bit like Rich Hill yesterday. Like, I don't expect him to pitch deep into the game, and he's not as good as Rich Hill, but the Padres still stink. And he's only 7,200, so I mean, I'm going to have some Brandon McCarthy. I'm not excited about it. I don't think he's that good, but he's okay. They're a huge favorite. I could see him pitching 6 innings and getting 17 DraftKings points and then a win for 21 and being fine.
Right. Yeah.
But I could also see taking, Padres on the other side. Will Myers, of course, has big power. I love Ryan Schimpf, especially against righties. Who's the fast guy? Travis Jankowski is fast. He has stolen base upside. And then they're kind of the whole youth movement thing. Manuel, Margot, Hunter Renfro, all these guys are cheap punts. So if it's like the last spot, like yeah, all those guys are fine.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you. It's not a team that I'm dying to target. I mean, the Dodgers for sure, yeah. But the on the Padres side, I'm not dying to play these guys. If you have, like Matt said, if you have remaining salary, I get it. That these guys do have some upside. Solarte, Schimpf, Will Myers, even like you said, Jankowski. I will say. Just because they're playing at the Dodger Stadium, that's why I'm not like exactly a ringing endorsement for them. But when you see the Padres go into more of a hitter's ballpark, just keep in mind they could be a sneaky stack going forward. I know they're bad. But a lot of that is mainly they had well. It's for their hitters too, but they have some decent hitters. Like you said, Jankowski is a very fast dude, and he could draw some walks, so he'll get on base one way or another. Will Myers, we know, has some pop. Solarte, we watched what he did in the Yankees for a couple of years. And then even Ryan Schimpf last year had a tremendous year. So maybe not this spot necessarily. I'm not dying to go here to stack necessarily. But I did win some money last year stacking the Padres in decent situations. So just for future reference, in this situation, like I said, I'm kind of staying away. I'm not too excited to target these guys. But if they end up in a different situation, maybe they get a chance to play a Willie Peralta in Milwaukee or something like that. I think me and Matt's tune will be a little bit different about the Padres. Just keep that in mind going forward, right, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, they're terrible because they have the worst pitching staff in the history of baseball. Their lineup is not, I mean, it's not great.
Right.
There's nobody that anybody knows, but they have a lot of young, up and coming, talented guys.
Right. Nicely put. Moving on.
Yep.
All right, we got the Los Angeles Angels with Tyler Skaggs, the lefty, going up against the Oakland Athletics and Andrew Triggs. What are we doing?
Skaggs is my favorite pitcher on the slate. I think he's pretty decent. We talked about Oakland, the stadium up there yesterday. It's a good park for pitchers. We talked about how it suppresses strikeouts, but I gave my glass half full, speech about how it helps pitchers, pitch deeper into the games. And I was big on Garrett Richards today, and he was doing great through 5 innings, and then he just, all of a sudden has a blister, and they pull him out of the game for no reason. So that was really tilting, but yeah, I'm going right back to the well with Skaggs. I like him a lot. As far as Triggs goes, I mean, he's another kind of talented young prospect, and if you look last year, he had some good games. And his price, I mean, 4,100 on DraftKings. I mean, he's way, way better than Weaver or Shields or even Kyle Gibson. So if I'm going to punt and I'm just going to go full all-star team batters, then I'm fine with Triggs. I mean, we know the Angels don't strike out a lot. But one thing about the Angels, and Triggs has massive splits. He's really good against righties, and the Angels are like all righties. I mean, other than Calhoun, I mean, it's, Escobar, Trout, Pujols, Crone, Simmons, Maben. I mean, it's all righties.
Yeah.
So,
I'm looking at that right now. I see exactly.
Triggs is in play.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's interesting, and especially for a tournament, which is obviously you're a tournament guy. I don't see anybody. I don't see anybody playing this guy. And like you said, man, if you're looking to play some big bats, which we've already gone over a couple stacks we like, and we still got more to go. I could see it especially on, like I said, on FanDuel, I don't think I'd go there, where you get one pitcher, but on DraftKings for sure. I see what you're saying, and I see merit in it for sure.
Yeah. And then if you want to go on the hitter side, I mean, for the Angels, I wouldn't be super excited to play anyone other than Trout and Calhoun, because I talked about the big splits for Triggs.
Right.
So Calhoun is in play. And then for the A's, Skaggs, we know, is a lefty, and we know Chris Davis has massive power, so I love Chris Davis with a K. Rajay Davis has huge speed. But, the Angels got that Martin Maldonado from the Brewers, and he has a cannon for an arm. So, maybe that lowers his stolen base upside. Ryan Healy is decent at a cheap punt price. Simeon's decent at a cheap price. They'll start Fegley at catcher tomorrow. He's okay. And like I said, I love Skaggs, so I'm not really on any of these A's. But if I'm rolling out 50 teams in the morning tournament, I'll probably have a few sprinkled in.
I understand that. One thing I'll say, I like Chris Davis overall. I mean, the guy, I don't think
Yeah.
there's anybody
Uh,
that's got more double dong upside than this guy. But
yep.
honestly, if I prefer to play him against righties, he seems, I mean, and the stats will kind of back that up. He actually does better against right-handed pitching for some reason.
Yeah.
So with that said, he's really the only threat that you're really worried about on the Oakland team, especially in that ballpark. So I guess if I had to pick one Oakland guy to take, it might be Simeon, just because I think
Yep.
he's sneaky, and I think that we know he's got power. But yeah, the more I look at it, the more I see your point about Tyler Skaggs, because I don't really see too many threats here that I'd really be worried about,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely. That's why I said he's my
There
favorite.
you go. That's right. All right, let's move it on. We got Tom Kohler
Okay.
of the Miami Marlins going up against Gio Gonzalez of the Washington Nationals. Sounds good, but we do have some concerns. Temperature is 65. That's not a problem. 63% chance of precipitation, but the forecast only calls for light rain, so we could get away with it. Humidity about 64%. Wind blowing about 15 miles per hour out to center. What are we doing with the pitchers here?
Yeah, so make sure you keep a look on this game. I mean, it is supposed to, rain, but it looks like as of now, the rain is going to maybe come before the game, and it's kind of clearing up later. So I think this game is going to play. As far as the pitchers goes, I sometimes roster Tom Kohler, but not here in this spot at all. The Nationals are way too good, way too potent of an offense for old Tommy Boy. Gio on the other side, I definitely could see using him if he can get by Ozuna and Stanton. I think he could have a good game. He definitely is the best pitcher on the slate, like today.
Yeah.
Like his stuff is the best. He's the most accomplished. Like he's the best pitcher. I mean, certainly it can go bad for him. You never know, but I'll definitely be rolling with Gio a decent bit.
Yeah, he seems to be the guy, especially on FanDuel. He seems to kind of be the guy that you might have to go with, just because there is a pretty large disparity between him and the next best pitcher. Unless you want to go back to the lackeys and Lance Lynn, which I'm not crazy about doing.
Nope.
All right.
Nope.
What are we doing with the hitters here?
Yeah, I mean, the hitters on Miami, like I just said, I mean, if someone's going to get Gio, I would think it would be Giancarlo or Ozuna. I don't like the matchup for Yelich or Gordon or Justin Bour. Real Muto is not very good against lefties for some reason, so I don't like him. Yeah, so just Stanton and Ozuna on the Marlins. And then on the Nationals, it's everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 1 through 7.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really like Wieters these days. He seems to be old all of a sudden.
all of a sudden.
Well, you know what I mean. It's like he's been good. He's had a good career. He's been a good hitter. But, all of a sudden he just seems to not be that good anymore. I mean, maybe it's early in the season, but that's just kind of my early read.
He's also got a big ballpark downgrade, right? Like he went from the O Stadium where you can mash, and now he's in Washington, which is tough.
Yep, that's true. But, I mean, of course, my favorites would be Harper and Daniel Murphy.
Oh, of course, yeah. I've always liked targeting righties against Kohler. I think Trey Turner is super interesting. He's expensive, but he's super interesting. I think in cash games, he's a very solid option. And as far as GPP plays, of course, you can always stack the game, which I don't think is a bad option at all. And I think you would agree, Matt. But guys like Jason Worth, if Anthony Rendon plays, assuming he plays, those are guys you don't want to sleep on. I think a lot of people are going to look at this, and obviously Eden, Harper, and Murphy, they're phenomenal spots. I'm not taking anything away from that. All I'm saying is don't ignore the righties here, because Kohler does have, again, I wouldn't necessarily call them reverse splits, but I would say sort of neutral splits. I think righties have just as much success as lefties do against them.
That's a good call. It's a good call.
All right, let's keep it rolling. We're full of good calls today. It's what we do. It's what we do.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see when the game's played if it was a good call.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to see about that.
Yeah.
All right, we got Marcus Stroman of the Toronto Blue Jays going up against Blake Snell of the Rays. Don't got to talk about weather because the roof is going to be closed here. So what are we doing here with these pitchers?
Well, this is interesting. This is the first game, of the evening slate, the main slate on DraftKings, and the morning slate. We talked about how all the pitchers were bad, and tons of weather concerns, since the night slate's totally different. All the pitchers are interesting and have upside, and all the offenses kind of have question marks.
Mm.
So in this first game, I love Marcus Stroman. We know Tampa Bay strikes out a lot. We know they're not as good against righties. And Stroman's, coming off the World Baseball Classic where he was really good and really electric. And, I'm thinking maybe that can kind of springboard him into kind of a breakout season. So I like Stroman a fair bit in a good pitcher's park, a big upgrade from the Rogers Center where he normally pitches. And then Blake Snell, is a young, super highly touted prospect that was really good at the end of last season. And he actually had a really good game against Toronto towards the end of last year at 27.1 point DraftKings game. But he also had another game the previous week where he got completely pounded by Toronto. So I could certainly see Toronto getting to him, but I could certainly see him having a good game also. So yeah, I like Stroman a lot, and Snell maybe.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. You have to like Stroman. He might not be like the highest strikeout guy, but he does get a decent amount of strikeouts, and we know the Rays strike out a lot. They pretty much swing for the fences every time. It's literally hit or miss with them. And and as far as Blake, it's intimidating to look that he's going up against a strong right-handed lineup of the Blue Jays. But if we go back to last year, which their team hasn't changed all that much, Toronto strikes out with the best of them. they can strike out a whole heck of a lot.
And Dylan Bundy dominated them tonight.
Yeah.
I mean,
good call. By the way. Good call.
Yeah, I mean, different pitcher, today obviously, but it can happen just because they have a scary lineup doesn't mean they can't strike out a whole pile.
You said on the pod yesterday. You said you liked Bundy. You did. I got to give it to you.
Yeah, I had him. I didn't have him enough. That's for sure.
I gotcha. What are we doing with the hitters?
Yeah. On the Tampa Bay side, you have all these guys that are kind of boomer busty, the lefties especially. We talked about yesterday, I like, Kevin Kiermaier a lot, and he's cheap. And Corey Dickerson and Logan Morrison are kind of, home runner strikeout types guys, so they're fine. Brad Miller could get a hit. But, all of them are just okay for me.
Right.
And the righties aren't in play. For me, on the Toronto side, it's all the big power guys. It's Donaldson and Batista, and Tulowitzki's really cheap today. And then, Morales and Russell Martin. Russell Martin's really cheap too. They priced these guys way down today on DraftKings compared to where they were.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Steve Pearce too. Steve Pearce mashes lefties.
Oh, good
3,200 on DraftKings.
Good call. I forgot they even had him. Very good call.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
I think you pretty much nailed this one. Let's move on.
Okay.
Jaime Garcia on the Braves. Talk about a downgrade. He's on the Braves. He's playing the Mets and Matt Harvey, who's looked a little rough in the spring. And I'm a little, as a Met fan, I'm a little skeptical of this guy. I hope he does well. I love the Dark Knight. I root for him. It breaks my heart when he doesn't do well, but there's reasons to be concerned. And we got a 56-degree forecast. We got a 68% chance of precipitation as of now. However, they are predicting light rain. And we got humidity about 86%. Winds blowing out to left center about 14 miles an hour as of now. What are we doing with the pitchers here? So
we can't use the Dark Knight today? No Dark Knight?
I'm worried about it. It's not like a lock and load like some of these other DeGrom for me was a lock and load, no problem. Syndergaard the other night, no problem. Although Kershaw was going, so it did make it a little tougher. But on this slate, I want to, but it's tough. You know what I mean?
But he's way cheaper than those two guys were, and it's still the Braves, and the Braves are still terrible, and it's still a big ballpark. And who's the only threat on the Braves that we're really afraid of is Freddie Freeman, and he has terrible BVP against Harvey, and obviously Harvey's not what he was. But if he can get by Freeman, there's no reason he can't go 6 innings, with 7 strikeouts and give up 1 run.
Sold. You just sold me on Matt Harvey.
And then, Jaime Garcia, I can make an argument for him, because the Mets are so left-handed.
Yes.
And the lefties strike out a lot. And, I can make a case for Jaime. I'm not super excited about it, but I wouldn't blame you if you went there.
No, you know what? I'm with. In fact, to be honest, I think part of the reason that I was a little hesitant on Harvey is because I kind of like Jaime. Now,
Yeah,
I would probably trust Harvey a little more, and it's more so that we're trusting that the Braves lineup is worse than the Mets lineup. But the Mets
right.
can strike out with any. They strike out a lot, especially against lefties. Even guys like Cespedes. Cespedes is a reverse splits guy. He hits righties better. Um, Reyes has looked horrible lately. Asdrubal and Walker are a couple of guys you may have to worry about if you're going there. But I mean, looking at the rest, Lucas Duda against a lefty, no thank you. Jay Bruce, Granderson, none of these guys can really hit
So, hey,
lefties.
hey, don't forget about the one guy on the Mets that kills lefties, and that's
Wilmer
Wilmer
Flores,
Flores.
yes,
Yeah,
yes, and
they
he will
they
probably get the
tried to
start.
trade him. Yeah. Oh, they have to start him. If they don't start him, I mean, what are they doing?
You're absolutely right. That's a great call, Wilmer Flores. For
Yeah.
those of you that he doesn't, he's kind of like the Dos Equis guy, right? Like he doesn't always play, but when he
Yeah.
does,
Against the lefty.
yeah,
It's against the lefty, and he's going to hit a solo home run.
yeah, yeah.
So play Wilmer Flores.
Yes, play Wilmer Flores as long as he's in the lineup. Which, like you said, if they don't put him in the lineup, I don't know what they're doing. So I would
Yeah.
anticipate him to start. I could even see him maybe starting. They might start him at first over Duda, or so I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, he doesn't play first a lot, but I've seen him do it a couple times. So I wouldn't be surprised if Duda gets the break. He's got a bad back anyway, and they start him there. That's a great call. But I will say before I let you talk about the hitters, I will say as a Met fan. Um, I would go very easy. I wouldn't exactly stack the Mets in this situation, I don't think. What do you think?
No, no. I'm definitely not stacking the Mets. Like I said, Wilmer Flores, and then could they possibly give Travis d'Arnaud a better spot than the eighth hole? Um,
Yeah,
Probably not.
he's been
Probably
struggling.
not. So yeah, probably not. So I can't do that. I don't think I'm excited to roster any other hitter from this game. I don't think I'm
Nope.
gonna play.
Nope, me either.
Yeah.
Me either. It is pretty much Wilmer as a one-off, and that's pretty much it from this entire game.
Yep.
All right, ready to move on?
Yep.
All right. Ariel Miranda, a lefty for Seattle, going up against Joe Musgrove, a righty of the Houston Astros. Temperature is about 75 degrees. Not really any threat of rain. 31% humidity. No real wind factor here. What are we doing here?
Well, I mean, Joe Musgrove is ridiculously talented. Like, he could be a really, really good pitcher, and I'm definitely going to use him today just because of that. But I will certainly be hedging against it just in case it doesn't go well. Because we saw last season, we saw him have a couple of really rough outings to go along with some really amazing
Right.
outings. It was kind of like 25 DraftKings points, 22, 25, -7, -1, 25, sort of that sort of thing. So yeah, like I said, I'll be using him and I'll be using the hitters. And then, Ariel Miranda at only 5,400 is a little bit interesting too because Houston strikes out so much. And, if you look last year, towards the end of the year, he had some really good games, and he actually had a 29.4 point DraftKings game against Houston.
Wow.
8 strikeouts, 7 innings. So I'm less enthused, of course, to play him than the Musgroves or the Blake Snells, but I might click his name a few times. Um, and then do you have anything to say about the pitchers, or do you want me to just move on to the
Move on
hitters?
to the hitters.
Okay. Um, Houston, it's just all the righties, like normal. I mean, the Correas and the Springers and the Altuves, Bregman, of course, Evan Gaddis can hit one
Yeah.
out. Beltran can hit one out. That's maybe why I probably won't end up on Miranda because there's just so many spots for it to go bad
Mm.
um, here. And then on the Seattle side, after all these guys let me down today in a big way, the Canoes and the Seagers and the Cruz. The one guy that hit a home run was, of course, now I can't even find him, the shortstop
Was
that they got from Arizona, Segura.
Segura?
Of all the guys, of course, Segura hits the home run, and he's expensive, 4,400.
He's a ground.
on draft.
He's like a ground ball hitter too, and that's the guy
Yeah,
that cracks a home run. Like,
yeah, yeah. So I mean, I probably won't go back to Segura, but I'll use Cano and Seager and Cruz again, and they're kind of off to a cold start, so maybe today's the day. I like Musgrove a little more than the Seattle bats.
I see.
Yeah,
I see.
yeah.
I really don't have anything to add here. I'm not crazy about the game in general.
The thing is, though, I mean, it's only a 4-game slate.
Right.
You know what I mean? The main slate on DraftKings, and it's like if we only like Wilmer Flores from the Braves and the Mets, and we kind of like the pitchers from Toronto and Tampa, and the next game has 2 good pitchers too, so it's like, hey, we got to pick somebody.
Yeah, you're right. We're gonna be forced into playing some guys, so we're gonna have to make some decisions
Yep.
for sure. Oh boy.
But we can move on to the next game.
Let's do it. Last game, actually, we kind of blew through this. There's a lot of games. We're doing good, man. We're getting it. See, I told you we make progress. We're doing it. Jeff Samardzija of the San Francisco Giants going up against Robbie Ray, the lefty from the Arizona Diamondbacks. Go ahead, start us off, Matt.
I mean, both these pitchers are really talented, and there was a stretch last season where Robbie Ray was a top 10 pitcher in baseball. But, this game has the highest total on the entire day, 9.5, and we know we love to target batters in Chase Field. They've played 3 games already in the series, and every game is shot out. I mean, even the game where Madison Bumgarner started, was a higher scoring game. Mm-hmm. So it's really hard for me to get off the batters in this game. So I have less interest in the pitchers than maybe I should. Mm-hmm. But the hitting environment is just so good, and the Giants don't strike out a lot. Arizona can strike out a lot against righties. So, I mean, Samardzija is fine, but I'm less inclined to play Robbie Ray.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I think that makes perfect sense. Like you said, it comes down to upside. Samardzija has the upside, but like you said, I mean, it's 85 degrees. It's one of the highest total, probably the highest total of the main slate. And even Samardzija hasn't really had the greatest stuff as of late. Like, I'm not taking anything away. I think he's a talented guy, and sure, there's certainly it's a right-handed dominant lineup. But that with that weather and the fact that we mentioned that we're having a hard time finding teams to stack in this main slate, it would be hard for me to play the pitcher just because I think I like the hitters so much in this game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 100% with you, and in this 4-game slate, I will have every single possibility of stacks from this game, every 4 and 4 from each team.
And then you'll have Wilmer Flores.
And then I'll have Wilmer Flores. That's right. That's right.
All right, that's gonna do it for the game-by-game breakdown, which means it's time for our game, the Dong Watch. Matt, lead us off.
Nolan Arenado.
You got it. That's all right.
This is the third time in a row I've picked him, and he's 0 for 2. So we're due.
Oh yeah, you're definitely due. I'm going Wilmer Flores.
Wow, I love it. I love it.
Go big or go home. Now watch. You know what's gonna happen? They're not gonna play him.
That would be something.
Oh yeah.
That would be something.
I think the next guy I'm gonna pick. Let's go Trey Turner. I know he's not known for his home runs, but he can certainly hit them. So I'm gonna go with Trey Turner.
I'm going to go with Corey Seager.
Ooh.
And for the 3rd time in a row, Bryce Harper.
Okay. Okay, nothing wrong with that, man. Definitely got to have some Harper love in there for sure.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. Ooh, this certainly got interesting. Corey Seager. That's a good one. That is a good one. I think I'm going to go with. I think I'm going to go with Miggy here, Miguel Cabrera. I'm going to take a big game, James. Oh.
I like it.
Miggy. Who was your last pick again?
Bryce Harper.
All right.
Yep.
I'm actually writing them down. I haven't been writing them down because I was over in South Carolina, so I've been having to go back and find where it is in the podcast and listen. So
right.
I'm writing them down.
So what are we at? We're at 2-2, right?
2-2. That's it. Although I must admit, I had an extra show or two on you, so your percentage is definitely better than mine because I got I had more opportunities. You had less opportunities and the same amount of wins, so your percentage is definitely better. I'll give you that.
That's all right. I'll let it slide.
All right, guys. That's going to do it for Matt and myself. Thank you for tuning into the WiseTake podcast, as always. And please do us a favor. Check out Matt's articles over at Daily Roto Sharks. Daily Roto Sharks is a phenomenal place. If you don't have time to do your research, or if you do, but you need some extra help, or you need an extra edge, you got to check out these cheat sheets. I mean, I think Ben and CG over at Daily Roto Sharks, they're giving it out for free for the first couple of weeks just to let you try it out. And you know what? They're doing it because they're that confident in their product. And they've earned the confidence of myself and Matt and Fuego and all the other guys that come on the pod. They're truly, truly a great daily fan. They're not just a daily fantasy advice site. They're a daily fantasy community, and it's a great team. They got a Slack chat where you can talk to guys like Matt once in a while and really get some deep advice. So we definitely recommend you go over there and try it out while it's free. I'm telling you, you're going to try it. You're going to win some money. You're going to be able to afford to pay off the rest of your season subscription, and you're going to be thanking us here on the podcast. So make sure you do that. Guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, please hit that like button. It means a lot to us. Subscribe to the channel, of course. If you're listening on Podbean, give us a follow. If you're listening on iTunes, subscribe to the channel. Leave us some reviews. I'm watching the people that are listening to us on iTunes, and I appreciate it. We still need some reviews to boost us up those charts a little bit, guys. Anyway, guys, that's going to wrap it up for Matt and myself. As always, good luck.